catch up on assignments and just hang out.
Yeah, it was good catching up on assignments up until this one started coming due.
Oh yeah, I've been working on it, but it's like I keep going around in circles. So
Yeah, it's like the direction. I know where to start, I know where to end, but the methods of actually doing it.
yeah,
Because I tried doing model builder and I built the exact script and I copied it over and it doesn't have any of the doc cursors or any of that, so that it's right
oh,
for its thing, but it's not right for what we're supposed to do.
I was wondering about that approach.
Yeah, no, I tried. It works. It will do exactly what you need to do, and it's just it's exact. All the code says model builder and this and that.
So guys, there's a case study, as I mentioned. We have two text files in a folder, and you already know that. You already know the data. I'm just gonna check a quick review on the text, and we're gonna start to coding it. Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have two text files, farm and winery txt. As it, by the way, can you see my PyCharm console?
Yep.
Awesome.
Or like the console underneath, or your actual just your Python code. I see the code, but not the console underneath it.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing, case study py at that point. Okay. Now we have farm ID, name, farm type, easting, northing, and we will create folders. We're gonna check if it's existing. We will create the shape file based on these text files, but it has to be regardless of the number of the text files. So it's gonna loop through the input folder, and we will create a shape file that contains the merged shape files. So the combination of the text files actually, and we will print out the number of the farms which are located within given extent. Is here x min and y min, y max. When I highlight it like that, you can see, right?
Yep.
So the thing is, I'm just gonna start with as I mentioned before, I used FME style coding, and it's something like that for my case. I'm not gonna literally copy and paste. I'm gonna try to create another one. So we gotta import wait, operation system. Import ArcPy.
Should the OS always go before the ArcPy? Should the OS go before the other one, or should...
as long as you call it later, as long as you call OS later instead of like, if I write something like OS dot folder blah blah, it's not gonna work. As long as I write underneath it, the order is not make any problem, cause any problem. So I'm gonna import ArcPy. Do I have any other thing for now? I don't think so. So we gotta read the files. By the way, there's another library named Shuttle. We're gonna use this for if the file, if the folder is existing or not. Now they are gray because we haven't called them yet, and it's saying unused important statement. Now, I'm gonna define my, by the way, did I show you the folder? My folder is in C temp. Let me show.
And the D2 raw data.
Yeah, the C temp raw data. Okay, my folder is that, and I'm gonna read the files from here. Now I'm going back to PyCharm. So now, first we gotta know the file paths. Input files folder equals to ctemp raw data. Wait, D is capital. Or I can copy the initial things and directly explain to you instead of doing step by step. Now, in here, there's input files folder. Input files folder is raw data. My output directory is ctemp GUNEY processes data. And PT count, do you remember this part? He wanted us to count the, print out the number of the farms which are located in extent. That's just because of predefining the variable. And again, we are predefining the boundaries for that thing. And if operation system path is not exist, which is output directory for our case, then create the folder. But if it is exist, but there is not, and that means if it exists, shuttle.rm3 output directory means delete this folder and all of the folders underneath it. So there's a folder tree underneath this. Delete everything, regardless of what. So it's deleting everything, and this is our initial kind of FME reader. And for our case, I set ArcPy environment as output directory. Is there any questions so far?
So this right here is just the laying down the boundaries and the structure to start the actual code.
Excuse me?
This is the section where it basically you tell it where the files will come from, where they will go,
Yeah.
and like the rules for what the code will cover. Okay.
It's just initial. That you don't do nothing except for creating a folder in here.
Okay.
This is this OS make theirs creating a directory. Other than that, there is no action.
Okay. So that's like a code initialization.
Yeah, definition, or yeah. Now, I designed a transformer, and we want to loop through a folder. So as long as we can do all of the things for only one file, that means we can do this for every file. That's why I'm not gonna create a certain file definition or certain path for text files, but I'm gonna write a function for taking these files and transforming them into shapefile. Transformer is having a input parameter, or not input, because it's a file. I'm saying that file, but it's not a problem. Whatever you write there. What I'm gonna do now, before continuing coding, I wanna switch to my Arc Pro. Where is Arc Pro? Oh, here. So in here, you can see, right, when I switched to the Arc Pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I created a model. Actually, this part is not necessary. I deleted this from my code as well. Calculate geometry attribute is not necessary for us. And it's frozen.
Oh, we're back.
Okay. Now I have a ctemp folder, and I want to create a feature class, right?
Mm-hmm.
In here, it's not gonna be dynamic coding. Instead of that, it wants you a real feature class, but we're gonna change this with our codes. Feature class name equals to farm shape. At that point, it's not a problem, but let's see. Temp raw data. Wait. Yeah. Sorry.
Or processed.
The path is not important. I'm just gonna export my model at that point.
Mm.
Export. There's creating feature class and adding fields. Now I'm switching to ArcPy, and I'm gonna add the model 2 into here. Okay. Now model says to us, farm shape equals to ArcPy create feature class management. I'm just gonna take this, and by the way, I created fields with farm ID, name, farm type in normal model builder, and I defined the fields in ArcGIS Pro like that.
Mm.
In here, all of them are defined, so they're in the code already. That's why we are seeing them in there. Now I'm gonna copy the two important things from here. Wait. To case study. But it's not gonna be the first steps actually. I just wanted to have them before I need them. Now I'm creating my feature class and adding fields into it. But it's not gonna work at that point because I haven't told which shapefile. I have no file path, file name, shapefile name. So now I'm gonna define them and gonna fill in this real functions. Now, if I have a file and the file name is gonna be something .txt, right? So if I take that txt file name and change it into shp, it's gonna be my shapefile.
So I would be able to take that one. I would be able to take a couple snippets of code from my model builder that I created.
Huh?
I made a couple of the model builders.
Mhm.
The same kind of thing you did, where you copied the create feature class management and add fields management. I
Yeah.
had different ones, so I'm gonna have to look to see exactly how my code printed out, because I may be able to just copy and paste them over like that.
What I did, I just literally copied and paste, but I defined the
The
path
path, yeah,
and the output name after I copied them.
yeah, because the natural path would be your geodatabase that the project is
Yeah.
in. Yeah, okay.
So out path is gonna be output directory in here, and out name will be shp file, which is defined in here. What is file? We're gonna give that after we define this transformer. Transformer is not doing something as long as you call that. It's a function.
Oh, okay.
So it's not acting at that point. It's just a definition. Whenever I write this transformer blah blah dot txt, or if I loop this through in the folder, it's gonna give us the files, transfer file. Then that means I'm calling something with this code. So the definition is sweet thing. As long as you don't call, it's not coming.
Cool.
And yeah, shapefile, file split. I know where my file is, and by the way, I don't want to make your mind blow your mind. So that's why I just want to show you how did I call the file. I created a actually this is actually a loop, for loop, which is saying, and before I'm gonna create the transformer, I'm gonna do this I'm gonna add the code to call the transformer in here, but I'm gonna do it in the sense that you will be able to understand. So instead of creating a generator, I'm just gonna create a loop for file in os.list there in my input files folder. By the way, I'm gonna hide this so you will be able to understand what it is. For each file in my input folder, if file ends with, it's literally English, ends with .txt, transform, it's not transform, file. Transform to what? Transform to shape, but it's gonna be defined in here. Okay? So once I defined this, it's not gonna run any code, but when I say for each file, transform that file, then it will turn them into a shape file. Okay? Is it clear, or is there any problem?
Yeah, it seems like a nice way to do it. I was not using a transformer before, and just kind of writing the whole text txt to shapefile within the for loop. So it looks much nicer to create a function and then just add that function into the for loop. Like that seems much more manageable to do.
Yeah, that's what I learned from FME actually. I that was not my way to do this, but I really liked having it at least a transformer.
I think line 41 you'll need a colon, right?
It needs colon. And
that'll be my one helpful thing to say.
And now we don't need a generator or generator function. Instead, I will, in here, merge management is for this task. Once you created your shape files, it wants us to create including all shape files. So merge management is stands for that. But once we get here, we will rearrange this thing because I changed the shape generator with a loop, which is more clear to understand. Anyways, now let's go back to our transformer. Within transformer, we haven't done much thing yet, I know, but we will. Now we know our shapefile name. We know our output directory, which is for me GUNEY process data. Now what do we need? We need to read the file, right? That's why I'm gonna add my reading codes. Now
so this needs to be all done before you start doing the in-file and out-file handler, right?
Instead, what do you mean with in-file handler? Do you mean this part?
No, just
or underneath it here?
Just the one note I took for the one class. It seemed like you did your text files where they're coming from your directories, and then later you add an in-file handler. So I'm just curious if that's what you're adding next.
The thing that I'm gonna add, I'm gonna try to create full file paths of the text files to read them. So yeah, they are input file handlers, and they're gonna be somewhere in here at the top of the transformer.
After the split, okay.
Yeah. So these are the things that I'm gonna put later, actually. But let's do this. Okay. Now my input and output files are these. Oh wait. Sorry. I think I got your question now. You asked where we're gonna put in file handlers, right?
Yeah, basically I was saying, does all this ArcPy management need to be done before you actually start reading and writing the new file?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, the shape file and the fields has to be created before we calling them.
Okay.
Now, what is input? Input is our text file, and which is called by here as a txt file, and output is os path join output directory shapefile. Shapefile is already derived from input text file. So what we are doing here, we are not calling farm shp, we are not calling winery shp. We are talking about any text file.
If it finishes with txt, you're gonna take it. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, my input's gonna be always txt, and my output is gonna be always shp, because I told like that in line 22. Okay. So now I know my input and output. I can say I can start input handler after that point. Now input handler equals to open my input or INP in reading mode. I just want to print my what I'm gonna see, or wait, input handler dot read lines equals to lines. Let's say print lines and run this.
Oh, I don't think I see the. Was it the console?
Nothing's changed yet. It's gonna be a little bit slow.
Oh, okay.
on my computer. But I already saw the error, unfortunately.
So with INP, you're making that's going to be every TXT file in the folder.
No. It's
Oh, no.
just the only one file that looped through the last thing that we wrote. For file in all OS list there, blah blah. So this is gonna call one transform file, and within this called transforming file, do whatever what I said, file that split to shape, blah blah, and wherever you see the file, that means the one text file.
Okay.
And in here, I'm just having a complete path for this text file. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this text file in here. Lines, input handler, read lines, print lines.
Cool. And what does read lines do? Is that going to give you every line, like every row?
Yeah, it's gonna give every row. And what I basically did, I took the first line as header, and the rest as a row.
Content.
Yeah, content. Wow, it's pretty slow.
That's good. This is like question time.
Yeah. Yeah, you can ask questions, buddy. And there's an error. I wouldn't like to do this and this. SHP2.
I was going to ask, how did you decide which to set your environment to? I guess you set it to the output directory because that's where the shape files will be going.
I created output directory in here, and I said
like the
in here ArcPy
yeah.
environment workspaces are output directory, but in here in ArcPy sorry, model builder code, since I saw the out path as a different thing, I defined it in here. If I was deleted this part, probably it was gonna directly output the same file into there.
Yeah, as a default. That's kind of what the workspace is, right? It's a default location.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a default thing, yeah. And I can try to, because I already got error, I can try to run it like that this time without you see there's no output file, but I just want to see if it exports into the place that I mentioned as a workspace.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this time it's gonna be faster. I know I gotta buy a new computer, but not at this moment. Oh, yeah. Now everything's ran smoothly, and since I ran through a loop in file, I got two different lists. One of them for
it's each file, right? Each line is each file.
Yeah, this is for each file. If there was another txt file, it would be 3.
It'd be 3, and if there was 10, you'd have 10.
So
okay.
Yeah, it's basically calling the transform with the numbers of the txt files. Okay. Now I just want to see if I have my. By the way, I want to share with you the Arc Pro environment. Just wait. It's here. Not in the maps, but folders, temp, refresh. Yeah, there's my folder, and there's farm SHP and winery SHP, which are empty at that moment. But it's still we want to see at least its table of no attribute table. I just want to wait for yeah. I'm just gonna show you the table of contents. I always misspell attribute table.
It's like a table of contents.
Yeah, it's kind of table of contents. Yeah.
It literally is.
So there's nothing gonna be in this shapefile for sure, but we're gonna have at least our fields, because we in our model builder we said add fields. You see ID, farm ID, name, farm type, easting, northing. Now what we want to do, we want to fill those things, right?
Yeah, with their respected text file.
Yeah, with respect to text file. And for doing this, we gotta make them look beautiful. Again, instead of writing line by line, I'm just gonna grab the ready code and explain on it. Okay?
Cool.
Let's go back to our transformer. We left here. Okay. Now, input handler is input handler. We already talked about this. This time, it's mind-blowing. I'm just gonna skip this.
We're still I'm still seeing the Arc Pro.
Are you?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So sorry, man.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Thank you. But I'm gonna try something different. Can you see my real screen, regardless of whatever I changed?
Yeah.
Yep.
We
You
can see
see, right?
whatever you, yeah, whatever.